When you think about real estate, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Normally it's going to be a realtor. And if that is your first thought, you're not alone. What most people don't think about though is that the real estate industry is so big and there are actually several ways to make money in this industry without being a real estate agent and having a real estate license. So in this video, I'm going to break down 8 ways that you can make money in the real estate industry without being like myself, a real estate broker. So stay tuned.
Like a forced savings plans over time.
What's going on, guys? My name is Mark Steele, your real estate broker, and every Monday I share my information, my advice, and my 10 years of real estate experience with you. But before we get started on my list of 8 ways to make money in the real estate industry without being a realtor, be sure to bash the like button and slam subscribe so you can watch my videos and spend some time with me every single Monday. So the first method is flipping property. Now, if you're like myself, we've all watched those HGTV shows. We have dozens, if not hundreds at this point, of real estate flipping shows on TV, so I'm sure you've at least seen one of them. Flipping property is essentially buying a home that's under market value. So for example, if you're looking at a city that has homes in the $400,000 range, but on that street there's one property that's a little bit less attractive than the other ones and it's worth maybe $300,000. You purchase that property at $300,000 range, make your renovations and your repairs, and then sell it for $400,000 or even more if you've done the appropriate renovations. Now, flipping property is difficult in certain markets, especially the ones that you might see here in Ontario, because the home values are a little bit more expensive. So it'll take you a little more to get started and purchase that property, but if you have the means, you can purchase property under market value, make the appropriate renovations and repairs, and sell that property for more than it was worth when you purchased it. This is flipping property and can earn you a lot of money if you have the right methods and inexpensive costs for renovations and repairs. Method number 2 is being a developer. Now, anytime you see a property complex, maybe a condominium corporation, or any properties you see just about anywhere, a developer was involved. This person either purchased the land or acquired the land in some way. They built up a team of builders and contractors, and they developed this land. They made it from just grass and fields and whatever open space it was to a condominium corporation or a housing complex or a neighborhood, as you might see in any of your communities wherever you are. So a developer is going to be a bit more complex to get into. You have to have a lot more experience and you have to know exactly what you want to do with this development, or have the finances to hire the right team to work with you on that development. So once again, method number 2 is being a developer, finding land, finding space, and building it up from nothing to a community, to a neighborhood, to a housing complex or a condominium corporation. And method number 3 is something that most of us are going to be aware of, and it's probably the most common. It's being a landlord. So in order to be a landlord, you have to purchase and own a property, but instead of living in that property yourself, you're going to rent it out to a tenant. This person can be a long-term tenant, someone who stays in the property for at least 1 year or 12 months, or it can be a short-term tenant, someone who stays in the property for 3 to 6 months, or maybe it's an Airbnb, someone who finds your property online once you put your property on Airbnb and they rent it out for a weekend or maybe a week just for a vacation. So being a landlord is beneficial if you want to hold a property and have someone else essentially paying your mortgage down for you, so you're building up equity in that home without putting your own money into it. Like anything else, there can be drawbacks though. You have to really make sure that you vet your tenants very carefully and properly. Do credit checks on them, get references from their previous landlords so you know how they kept the property, what their standard of living is, what their quality is, and just to make sure that your property is being taken care of, again, whether it's long-term or short-term. So method number 3 is being a landlord. This can be very fruitful for you if you find the right tenants who will take care of your property and pay that rent every single month so you pay your mortgage and build equity in that home. Now, this method is probably one of my favorites because you're actually building value in multiple ways. The first one is, as your tenant pays their rent every single month, you're going to be hopefully cash flowing from that rent. So essentially what cash flow means is you're bringing in more money from that rent than you're paying in expenses, your mortgage and utilities, for example. So if you pay a mortgage of, let's say, $1,000, but your tenant is paying you a rent of $1,200 every single month, you have an extra cash flow of $200, which means as long as they're paying for their own utilities, you're cash flowing $200 and keeping that money in your pocket every single month. And of course, you can use that money to go towards investing in stocks. Maybe you're saving it to pay toward future properties in the future. So cash flow is going to be one great method to build value. And along with that, the next one, as you're building equity from these rental payments that you're putting towards your mortgage, hopefully the value of the property is increasing or appreciating over time as well. So if you bought the home at $400,000 in 2016, maybe now in 2020, the property is actually worth $450,000. And through all of that time you rented it out, you haven't paid mortgage yourself for any month or any period of time. So you own that home pretty much for free. They're paying your rent, you're putting it towards your mortgage, and the property is appreciating in value. So you're cash flowing, you're increasing the property value, and if you decide to sell it in a year or two, you're going to be making a lot more cash from there as well. Now again, of course, one of the big drawbacks or things you have to do some more research on yourself is talking to your tax person to discuss capital gains tax. Now it's a whole other video, it's a whole other calculation, but talk to your tax person and they will break down capital gains tax for you, because this will be paid on a property that you're not living in as a primary residence. Now these next methods are going to be a little bit less expensive for you to get into because it doesn't require you to purchase land to develop, it doesn't require you to purchase a home to rent out or to flip. The first one is being a home inspector. Now, the real estate process has many different parts to it, and one of the most important parts, as I've mentioned in previous videos, is getting a home inspection. So if you have a license and you're certified as a home inspector, essentially what this allows you to do is prepare a report for a home that breaks down the quality and the condition of a property. I recommend all of my clients get home inspections, and I'm not alone in that. Most realtors will recommend that their clients get home inspections as well. So if you connect yourself with multiple realtors, you could have multiple realtors calling you and asking you for that service. So look into home inspection. Become the person that checks out a home's quality and condition and ensures the buyer that everything that they are looking to buy is going to be appropriate for them. Or if there's any damages or repairs that should be made, maybe there's mold that has to be remediated, you can tell them about that as well. The next one is being a mortgage broker. Now, along with home inspection, one of the major conditions that has to be met before a home is purchased from a buyer is getting a mortgage approval. So you could be the person that helps potential buyers look over their finances, confirm their income versus their expenses and debts, and tells them exactly how much of a mortgage they qualify for. And in turn, your compensation is going to be often commission based. If you help that potential buyer to close their property, you get paid based on a percentage of the home purchase price. Now, your commission will vary based on the mortgage brokerage that you decide to work with, just like it is for real estate brokers. But this is one of the most important parts of any home purchase process because most people aren't buying homes in cash nowadays. They have to use a mortgage broker, they have to get a mortgage from a lender. So if you are the mortgage broker to help connect them to that lender, you will get paid for it. Now the next method is going to be an appraiser. Now the appraiser is often hired by the lender, and this is going to be done once the purchase of the property has been firmed up. It's not closed yet, but it's coming toward the closing process. The lender will have an appraiser go out to the property and verify the value of that home, either by doing a very quick inspection of the inside, or as we're doing right now during these interesting times in the world, they might actually have the owner of the property just take pictures of the inside of the home and send them to the appraiser so they can verify value that way. As I mentioned in a previous video, the appraiser can often stand to earn between $250 to $300 per appraisal, and again, they're going to be hired by the lender. So your best strategy here is going to be connecting to mortgage brokers and possibly to banks, so you can be the person they call to get these appraisals done. The next method is going to be a videographer or photographer. So if you've done any searching on real estate websites or worked with a real estate agent, you've seen listings and they all have pictures or videos on them. Maybe they have a 3D virtual tour or 360 photos that you can click around the room and see it without actually being there. These photographers and videographers are very important because they help potential buyers to see this space and imagine themselves in that space before actually visiting and putting an offer on that home. So if you have a knack for photography and videography and you have the skill to take these pictures and take these videos and edit them in a way that's most appealing to a wide audience, this could be a great method for you. So the final method of earning money in the real estate industry without being a realtor is being a property manager. This is one of those rare methods that might actually cost you little or no money whatsoever, and really just depends on the contacts you have. So being a property manager means you're connecting with homeowners who are renting their properties out or they want to rent their properties out to potential tenants, but they don't want to manage the day-to-day of being a landlord, essentially answering tenant phone calls, making repairs on the property, or doing any of that day-to-day management. So you're going to be there in their place, managing this property for them. If a tenant has an issue, they're going to call you and you have to make the repairs or connect them to professionals to make those repairs. Once they pay their rent every month, they're going to pay it to you, and then you take your cut and then pay the rest to the landlord or the actual owner of the property. So being a property manager can be a great experience, but depending how many properties you're managing, it could be very tedious and it could be a lot of work as well. So make sure that you are the kind of person who likes to interact with people, who likes to solve problems, and doesn't mind phone calls at random times based on whatever issues come up with the properties you're managing. And of course, you have to have a really good skill for vetting these potential tenants very well. Checking their credit scores, checking their references, and making sure that they're actually employed and paying their rent every single month, and maintaining the quality and the condition of the property you're managing. And that's it, guys. Those are 8 methods to earn money in the real estate industry without being a real estate agent like myself and getting a license. So please leave a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite method is of making money in the real estate industry. If you are a realtor, or if you are a mortgage person, an inspector, an appraiser, whatever the case, let me know your method, let me know your experiences, and share with everyone else who's viewing this video. Don't forget to bang that like button and smash subscribe to watch more of my real estate videos every single Monday. I'm Mark Steele, your real estate broker, and I'll see you very soon.